In today's episode, I'm going to talk about the best frame rate to shoot at all times. Let's get into it. Okay, so you are a new inspired filmmaker, cinematographer, videographer, most likely videographer if you're one banding, then and you just picked up the camera and you're super excited, you have so many ideas, you want to shoot a lot of things, but you don't know what to shoot, which frame rate. Because nowadays, a lot of people shoot at different frame rates, 24, 30, 60, 120 even. Here, I'll try to explain it to you guys why 30 frames per second is the best frame rate to shoot at all times. When you shoot 60 frames per second, you can slow down your footage quite a lot. However, you'll have that super jittery shot where you can see everything very crisp, and it's not ideal. Personally, I can see somebody shot some kind of a video 60 frames per second right away. But when you shoot 24, that motion blur is perfect. However, you can't slow down your footage as much. That's why I personally think, from my perspective, 30 frames per second is ideal when it comes to that. You can slow down your footage, and with DaVinci or with the optical flow and all those guys, you can slow down your footage even more. However, you'll still have that motion blur, and your footage won't look as crisp as like you shot at 60 frames per second. From my perspective, I think 30 frames is ideal when you're starting your gig and you don't know which frame rate you want to shoot at all times. Always shoot 30 frames. If you're a new videographer, most of your work is going to be related with social media. So if that's the case, then just shoot at 30 frames, because everything that we watch on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, everything that we see is 30 frames per second. Why would you shoot 24 and render it to 30, or shoot at 60 and render it to 30? Unless you really need that slow motion shot, shoot at 30 and it will be easier for you. The transition will be easier and your client will be happy with your work. Simple as that. The last one is not for everybody. However, if you are a Sony shooter like I am, I'm currently shooting on A7 IV. When you shoot 60 frames, your camera is going to crop in, and when that happens, you lose your file size is going to also change, and I don't like that. I personally shoot 4:2:10 bit at all times. When I shoot 30 frames per second, I think it gets me like 200 MBs or something like that, and I like it. I know that I know that I'm getting the highest grade possible, but when I shoot crop sentence, my file size change, and I always feel off about it. I feel like when I'm color grading, I can see the difference as well. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but if you're shooting a Sony, please don't do that, because unless you have to shoot that detail shots of random things, then mixing and matching is going to be really hard. A lot of cameras don't do that nowadays, especially I think Lumix one, you can shoot 6K and all that, but they barely crop in. A7 IV does that, and it is a cheaper camera when it came out, so there are always flaws. However, it works, so that's another reason. Don't shoot 60. Alright, that was everything. That's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Hopefully you guys understood why, from my perspective, 30 frames per second is the ideal frame rate to shoot at all times. And hopefully it was educational and you guys learned something from it. If you did, as always, thumbs up if you liked this, thumbs up if you loved it, and I'll see you guys on next episode. Ciao. Watch this. Ready?